Probably helping not.
Treasure.
They did.
For SGA.
I was thinking rise, they are all the treasure. That's it.
Fair enough.
In school district near my house is doing an alternative learning day tomorrow, so like, maybe we'll have something here, I don't know.
Probably not.
Shush, manifest it.
They're working on planning to add cameras.
Well, that's nice, but
At least they're trying.
my initiatives, I don't
No, you're good, you're good. Yep, we'll go ahead and get started. It's a bit past 6. Welcome to the third serial meeting semester. How's everyone doing? That's on the recording.
I spent the whole day in a sugar high because it's 55 degrees. And then tomorrow I will probably crash and burn very, very hard.
Yeah, I will say it won't stay cold for very long, but it will be nasty for the next couple of days for sure. On the docket today, I don't have too many big things, just a couple of small things that we want to start out with. Obviously, the big story today is, you know what I mean. The big story today is obviously the snow that's going to be coming, and I think Cassie wanted to start out by doing a little bit of presentation. So I'll give you the floor to get you doing what you want to do. I'm going to share the screen real quick so that Anna can see. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Numbers.
All right, so like obviously you guys know that we're gonna get hit with some things, but the reason why like school hasn't said anything or like there's not much about it is because of how slow this front is moving. They're like kind of like, oh, it's kind of stationary, kind of a cold front, kind of like, oh, what's gonna happen? We don't know. And so if you see on Earth Null, this is my favorite website of all time, is because you can see the winds and you can see that there's a permanent boundary. So that's why they're like, oh, it's kind of a stationary front and why it's kind of moving really slow because of all this warm air that's moving up and this cold air that's coming down. But how prominent it is because if you go to about 850 millibars, it's still there.
Ooh. That's a great call.
And then if you go to like 500, which is like not quite to the jet stream, you can see that like Dr. Finch was telling me that the polar vortex, the polar air and then the subtropical air is like trying to mix, trying not to mix. It's like, what are we gonna do? We don't know. So that's why I was like, oh, this is really cool because I'm like, oh, something I can talk about because I know things. But this is like what they're trying to find what's going on tomorrow. So like some mixed precipitation, some snow, we don't know yet. And then what I find really funny is that on day 3 on Friday, clear skies. Let me find one more thing, sorry.
It's windy today.
Yeah, I told you, but like one of the discussions said sometime, and I was upset, it's really.
So like, even though they still don't know about this front, this will say like winter weather advisory, that's why the hazardous conditions are there. So like, they have it like 90 for during the night and like heavy snow. The blistery is just, it's gonna be really windy, so it's possible blizzard conditions, possible whiteout. We just like exploded up in the air. Like, huh? They said about 35 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour.
Right. Isn't a blizzard warning a whole different stage for winter storm warnings?
Do they do those now? You have to be sustained winds of 35 miles an hour for 3 hours straight with visible northwest.
Quarter mile.
Well, we're gonna get pretty close, aren't we? Yeah.
Like literally, I'm learning about blizzards and natural hazards, and then literally like what they're talking about is what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Like, they wait till the last minute to say anything.
Well, that's because like the reason why is because if you see this stationary front, it's like all this warm air is moving. Like it's the mix between like Clipper and Colorado though. So all this moisture is making that rain and that freezing rain.
Yeah, what I mean is, it's a warning.
Yeah, so it's not supposed to snow till like noon tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if anything's like you can't see everything else. Right. But I wonder how that looks on water vapor. Are you looking at water vapor?
My main concern is there are gonna be a lot of people.
You'd have to probably go to to look at water vapor.
I don't know where that is.
There's
You
something
call that
about
up?
this that
Just type in COD, see what you.
there it is. My brain's not working.
And it should.
It loads.
Sometimes you can still pick these out, you can still pick it out in here.
Wait,
So hit the space bar. You can still pick it out in here, maybe not as well, but you can still see where that area was as far as what's going on. Sometimes you can really tell. Try band number, try the upper level, number 8. See what number 8 shows. This is very useful tool for picking up front to show my drops.
Yeah, learning new things every day.
There's something about this that I don't get. So this precipitation is it being caused by the convection of those two fronts going out, that kind of thing?
It's not that, it's just because like, it's kind of like a hybrid system. So you know how Alberta Clippers move? And you know how Colorado lows move? The reason it's kind of weird is because like we're starting to transition into spring. So it's like things are coming warmer, things are still kind of cold. So it's just that mix, like that large cold front. That's,
Is that Tom? Dr. Finch is talking about in dynamic, or no, was it, no, dynamic, yeah, do we those models,
the tongue.
the tongue.
Remember that tongue right here? I think she was talking about that with reference to.
The conveyor belts and all that stuff.
Yes.
I have no idea.
We literally made models for it, remember?
Oh, like the warm air, cold air, the belts, yeah, the conveyor belts. I'm not sure. Because like, it's not exactly like warm air and cold air like this, it's like warm air and cold air like that, so then it's going up over it, because it's colder at the ground. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I just thought it was really cool, because I'm like, hey, there's something interesting happening, I know how to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, that feeling, like, before, like, big weather is coming, and just.
Yeah. And then like, there's like another low system that's coming through, and that's what we're gonna get rain next week.
Right. No, it is definitely really cool how well defined this boundary is on this website. It's a really nice
I've never
website
seen
just to,
something like that.
just to drool
I
at.
think it's because of that large high over, and then a large high is specific, and there's like highs below the next too.
Mhm.
There's a lot of pushing in like the same area.
Speaking of, the school not making a decision yet, another thing that was really causing this, this forecast to be very complicated is due to interactions between a long wave trough and a short wave trough. Basically, I don't know if you've learned about long wave versus short wave yet.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking
All
about.
right, well, basically, they're big, long, I guess they're literally waves with long wavelengths. We call those Rossby waves.
Go to like 500, but like, you learn that in synoptic?
Oh yeah, I guess I can show you. Let's see. You'll learn that in synoptic for sure.
Go to like 250, I think.
Yeah, if you look at 250, you can see. Oh, right, okay.
There you go.
So what you see is the long wave here. You can literally see it's just a big long wave. These are on the span of continents.
It's literally what it says on the tin.
Right. These are the primary drivers of overall weather systems. They often have low pressure systems associated with them.
Oh, no, I don't remember what it says.
Right. But embedded within those are shorter wavelength waves that we call short waves, and they propagate east or west to east faster than the long waves do. And so, yes, they are embedded in that. Usually, I'm really bad at identifying short waves. They're really hard for me to kind of wrap my head around to understand. Yeah, they propagate along the long waves, and they are. You usually identify them at around 500 millibars, whereas in long waves, you look towards the jet stream around 250.
You can go to 500.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to pick it out. I'm really bad at picking them out. So basically, this forecast was complicated by the fact that a shortwave trough was ejecting out of the desert southwest of the country at the same time that this long wave trough across the Rockies was sort of moving into our area. And so the confusion between the models was how they were going to interact with each other. I know the NAM and the GFS, they both thought that they were going to phase really well. And so they thought that there was going to be a lot larger amount of snow and the track was going to be much further north. Whereas the Euro and a couple other models were predicting a southerly track because they weren't going to interact as, I guess, profoundly as the NAM was suggesting. And so you can see that if we go to let's see, this is the GFS here. So we can go back to, let's say, Monday's forecast at 18Z, Monday's run. And what you'll see is you can see the big band here of snow that's coming along.
That's really satisfying.
It is really satisfying. I love doing that. But you can see the northern track of this snow, and you can see McDonough County here was predicted to be on like the sort of the south side of this band, around 11 inches with this product specifically. But then if we go to today's forecast or today's model run, when we look ahead, we can see that this band is shifted much further south. It's much weaker as well. It turns out that the Euro's more conservative estimates were more accurate. And so, and this often happens with winter storms, but yeah, the track shifted like southeast, like probably.
Well, that's only coming like what, 3-4 inches for us?
Yeah, so if you look at this.
That does not sound like a school fancy word.
Maybe not. It's, of course.
Well, the reason that they're like, oh, it's misted,
Ice.
Not just the ice, it's because of the wind. It's causing, it will probably cause whiteout conditions. The reason why is because it's not gonna be heavy, thick snow, it's gonna be light something that's gonna go everywhere. That's why they're like, oh, maybe not, we don't know.
Obviously, the snow is not gonna be the, what'd you say? Oh, no, yeah, the snow is not the only concern. Obviously, the freezing rain, which is probably gonna start soon-ish, is obviously going.
It's more around like 80s.
That's what I've heard too, is that we're probably not gonna get too much, but.
Dr. Finch is saying because it was warmer, we're probably gonna get more of that.
It's gonna be more of a flash freeze than it will be of actual freezing.
Right, the concern is that it's gonna rain and then the cold front's gonna come right through and freeze everything, and then it'll snow, and then it'll just be a mess.
Yeah.
But regardless.
It depends which model or which parameter you're looking at too, is how much snow this is showing.
That's also true. Anthony showed me this, which was really interesting. I hadn't known about this. Whenever you're looking at winter weather and pivotal weather, for example, you can choose to look at snowfall based on 10-to-1, I think, moisture to inches ratio, something like that. What'd you say?
Snowfall.
Yes. And so that's one of the products you can use. You can also use Kuchera, which is just a different ratio, I think. But something that Anthony pointed out is that if you use this product down here, which is called total accumulated snowfall with depth change added in, basically it not only cuts for how much water is going to fall from the sky, but also how much will melt and how much will get blown off due to wind and temperature and that kind of thing. And so that might actually give you a more accurate estimate of snowfall than.
We'll factor in wind and melting.
Just melting and compaction, that's what I meant. And so you can see that this product is predicting about 5 inches for McDonough County, whereas let's say the 10-to-1 ratio that we could look at is predicting closer to, well, okay, in this instance, it's 4 to 5 inches. But regardless, that might give you a more accurate representation. The Kuchera, oh yeah, no, the Kuchera was the one that was predicting higher. I think you're right. Yeah, no, this Kuchera is predicting 7 to 8 inches, and so that's something to keep in mind.
One thing that I'm not getting here, on any of these models, there is this band right on the northern tip of Illinois that's way up your snowfall from the rest of the ground. That is really weird to me.
I mean,
Around the Chicago area?
No, like literally on like yeah.
You're talking about this?
Right there. And it stretches down west a little too. Every single model is calling.
More like
probably lake effect.
That is not like
Chicago.
no. I'm
Well,
sorry.
you gotta remember that there's a lot of wind coming from the
That's
south.
Yeah, because look, it's gonna snow here first in this sort of narrow band, probably at least in part due to lake effects, and then the main system is gonna come through.
I can believe like right next to the lake, that's lake effect, but how is it going to reach that far west if our atmosphere goes from west to east over here?
It's probably just some convective fading that's happening there.
It's what a low pressure system is too, as far as when it starts snowing.
Another thing to look out for is we're going to have a potential severe weather day tomorrow, particularly in this area. Anthony showed us a cool product that College of DuPage has made, or made available anyway. You want to talk a little bit about this, Anthony? Not put you on the spot, I'm sorry.
So what this is, Cameron Nixon has this on his website. It's literally a photograph map. And so what it's actually showing you is as you move forward in time, it'll show you how the photographs changed. Instead of clicking on each individual point and bringing up the photographs for each point, it will literally move them through time. And so as we can see, as we get to this area here, which I believe is probably 21Z on Thursday, tomorrow maybe, probably right around this time, I don't know exactly. But the moderate risk is right through here, and we can see why, these photographs get more curved, which indicates you have better low-level rotation, or better low-level kinematics. And so what this will do is it'll tell you where you would be, or would want to be if you were chasing more trying to issue warnings where you would focus in on. And that's why the SPC has upgraded this to an enhanced risk with 10% patch for tours. This also has arrows showing you storm motion. And so, oh my goodness. So that's what this does. There's your arrow. Also has surface winds, and the shaded areas are actually surface based.
Did they put black hat trying as well recently?
Yeah, that's 10% hatch.
Oh, I think it's.
But yeah, so that's what this does. It just came out, I think, on Mondays when it finally became available. It's only for the NAMP and the RAP right now, and you have to use the floater section. Due to, I think this would be too much stress on some of the computers to run it on an actual regional scale. But that's what this does, and it'll be really cool, really useful whenever you're out trying to find some tornadoes.
Very, very cool. But yeah, that's basically the lowdown of what's going on. Some other things that I wanted to discuss with you guys. Anthony has put this in the Discord. I think he put it in like a couple weeks ago, and we talked about it again when they announced the speakers. But the National Weather Association, the Central Iowa chapter, they are having their annual Severe Storms Conference. Let's see, when is that actually happening? March 31st to April 2nd. Yep. So we talked about this at length last year when it happened. It was all virtual then, obviously because of COVID. But we say this every single year that they have it, which is every year except for the COVID year. This is a conference that all of the WAU students should go to. It's very close. It's very cheap, especially on conference standards. It's in, where is it? It's in a city just north of Iowa, right? Or Des Moines, right?
Just one.
Ankeny, that's the one. So about an hour and 15 minutes away from here-ish.
Yeah, it'll be more than that.
I've never actually been.
I mean, maybe Cedar Rapids is about an hour.
Gotcha, okay.
So it's a little bit more now. The good thing about this is, if we get enough kids to go, we can split hotel rooms. Last time, the university was gonna pay for the hotel rooms. Obviously, guys, girls are girls. But that's,
Do they still pay for half?
oh,
Do they still pay for, who you guys mentioning, vacations like that?
no, they paid for all the hotel rooms.
Oh,
They weren't, that was the last time we had at least 10 or 12 people wanting to go there. And so that's the issue now is we need people to go, and if that happens, we get the agency and they'll pay for hotel rooms again.
this is still a Friday for like Sunday.
Thursday through Saturday,
Does this happen every year?
every year, yes, different speakers every year.
I wonder.
The only best thing about this is on Thursday afternoon, they have their radar conference, which you're literally sitting in the hot seat. They give you a simulation of your past storm, and you're the one sitting there issuing warnings. That's the only way to have the actual lessons. So like last year when we did it during the online one, there was a severe, I think it was a high risk day in Alabama. They took the Alabama radar, overlaid it on top of Des Moines radar, and we were literally issuing live warnings as national listeners would be on a live stream.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's what we did. Well, just me and Grace last year. But yeah, that's what this is. Pretty good speakers there.
Yeah, that's the other big thing is these guys always pull some really good speakers. This is not the final list. I'm sure they will be adding more. But Tim Marshall's really good. Fred Glass, Dr. Finch said that Yvette Richardson here is pretty good. I'd never heard her name before, but
Yeah, so Fred Glass, I think he's one of the senior meteorologists at WS St. Louis. Rick Smith is the WCM at WS Oklahoma or NUS Norman. And they typically have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 broadcast people that come in. Nick Stewart, former WIU graduate, he's going to speak here. I've talked to him about it. So he'll be here. I don't know speaking on it, but they typically bring in some EM people as well. Some machine management people. Last year they had the guy from Joplin. They had somebody from the tornado outbreak. Maybe it was the ratio from Iowa last year.
Yeah.
One of the counties was speaking on what they learned. And last year they were supposed to have James Spann, but that was during the outbreak down in Alabama, so we couldn't come. But, I mean, it was still a really good conference, it's just.
So I'm wondering what, because I remember Dr. Michelle about this, because a lot of us, well, I think it's probably go, it feels always fun to anything. A lot of us have class those 2 days of her class, and I remember saying something about she just like kind of was like just whatever for the class and go to the conference.
No, I mean, I asked her if she was gonna go, she said she's thinking about it, though. She's got a lot of
That's
stuff
the
going on.
only thing, because we have her class both of those days.
Oh, yeah, she won't care.
Yeah, no, Dr. Finch would absolutely either just cancel class or accommodate people who wanted to go, because
You
this
have
is,
me at hotel. Give me this.
Yeah, we need people, that's, if we don't have enough bodies, it's not gonna work.
right. The biggest cost of attending a conference is always the hotel, and so if we could get the department to
And we
pay for
need,
that,
we need it sooner the better, because if we lose that rate, we get they have a block of hotels, a whole block of rooms set outside, so we literally need to know ASAP. If people can go in, we can see what's going on, because right now it's like, I think with taxes for a double room, it's like maybe 105, 110 a night with taxes.
Is it okay if I get to you on this after Friday?
Oh, I mean, we just need, you know, it doesn't have to be super, I mean, we need to be super, we can wait a week or two.
yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, we need as many people as we can physically get to go.
Yeah, you go and share a room. I would still go.
Yeah,
I just want to talk to my political science professor first.
So, yeah, I mean, this is the conference, I think it's not formal, but it's business casual.
Yeah,
So you have to dress up for this, you're gonna be in suit and tie with your guy. Or not suit and tie, but you're gonna be in a collared shirt and tie.
And no holes in your jeans. And like, if we were to go, like, travel, like, people.
If we get enough people to go, and we get Dr. Finch to go, we would take the university band, and whoever else could fit, someone would drive. That's what
I'll offer to drive, I don't drive.
that's what we're gonna do, like 1 year, let's take a van.
Not that way.
And whatnot, but like I said, that depends on people, that depends on Dr. Finch can go. Yeah, so that's a lot of what ifs at this point, as far as what's gonna happen.
what I might do is I might put out a thing, what?
I was like, I'm interested in going, I just need to wait till after Friday.
Yeah, so fine. No, I think what we might end up doing is we'll put a thing out in Discord, be like, hey, anyone who wants to go, like, please respond to this message so we can get a head count of where we're going. I will recommend going. I haven't been able to go to the in-person one. Every single time I've tried, it's been either virtual or canceled. And so I definitely recommend everyone who can go to go.
And then you go get to the Ohio State kids, which I know a bunch of those kids already.
And if we were to go, like, how would, is there a dress code?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, business casual.
I don't have any business, I have business clothes, but I'm like super. No, it's just nice. It's
Just
not-
dress nice. It's,
I have my whole purse, I get those clothes.
Yeah, like for us, I mean, for guys, it's either really, really nice polo or usually for a collar shirt and tie. Right, that's mainly what it's gonna be like, and then you also have dress pants. But yes, nothing like AMS, which is, that's one.
Yeah.
You wear a suit and tie with nothing like.
That sounds so uncomfortable, not wear heels. I don't know, like I just,
but yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is spotter training. Spotter training is mandatory if you ever want to do any sort of storm chasing or spotting in any official capacity. The National Weather Service holds spotter training courses for not only for meteorologists, but also just the general public to get informed about what they should do in the event of a storm outbreak. And all of you should go. The one for Macomb is on Wednesday, March 9th. And so that will just be the club meeting that week. Everyone should just go. Do we need to sign up for that? Or can we
Click
just,
on it, I don't think so, if you click on it, it'll tell you.
yeah, let's see.
Yeah, so we'll have a sign up sheet there.
No, all right.
So, yeah, I don't think you have to actually RSVP.
Nope, so that's at the 4-H Center here in Macomb. It's at 5:30 on that Wednesday, and so after physical, we can just take whoever wants to go, but yeah. Definitely I'll go to that, it's just a good
wait,
experience.
hey, we're physically there this year, you're not online?
Yeah.
Yes,
we're going.
it'll be at the 4-H Center.
Where's that at?
On the edge of
West side
town.
of town.
Yeah, west side of town.
Or the DMV. You know where the DMV is.
But what if I did this?
You don't have
So,
to.
Yeah, you don't have to go, but
Wait, do they let you?
We go every year, I go 3 or 4 different ones a year.
You have to recertify every 2 years. You have to recertify every 2 years.
Okay, I know for us in natural hazards, we have it like 515 or 520.
Yeah, we
You get,
need
if you're a natural hazard, she gives it.
She
Yeah,
does.
she would account for that. And I get out of historic 520, but that wouldn't be a big deal. The other reason you would want to go, even if you have already certified, is because National Weather Service, people are going to be there. And so if you ever wanted to talk to them, connect with them, that's a good way to do that. Yeah, that'll be club that week. So I guess the only other thing left to do is last week Andy revealed his t-shirt designs and he has some more updates for us. And so
Anything left to do, I'll take over later.
all right, I'll let you do that. But yep, he can do.
Okay, this is gonna be way smaller this time because I tried the edits that you guys wanted. Also, Ian. I always mix up names, I'm sorry. Ian,
Yes.
look, I worked with people for 4 years and I still forgot their names. Give me a break. You said you would look up custom inks color printing policy. Did you?
Yeah, I forgot. I'll be honest, I forgot.
All right. Okay.
I'll look it up on my phone right now.
Do we want to look, so first, two things I did. A, you guys wanted a difference in the ring color, right? Solely because of the color printing issue that I thought we would know by now, but besides that, you also wanted a very basic design on the other side of the shirt. Which one do we want to see first?
I don't think it matters.
All right, so I'll look at the edit first. So this design, I turned the rings green, but kept the halo glow similarly. And in both of these designs, I did actually change the color on the purple, the hail, whatever you call it, so that's actually visible from now when you look further away, because that was the main argument there. So this is basically just a color test of what if I kept it green, but kept the blue. And if that doesn't work, or you don't like it, or I suck at everything and my life is worthless, then I also made a second alternate which changes the halo color to green. The glow color.
I like the blue one because that's just too much green.
I like green, so I like that.
That's too much for me.
I like.
What was the previous code? The halo? Not the halo, the previous.
The blue.
It was blue, but Ian said that they might have an ink limit or
Like
something.
you can have so many colors and
Yeah.
no more than that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look that up right now.
Well, and one of my recommendations last week too was if there is a color thing, we don't have to have like the pink on there, do we?
So yeah, that was
Yeah. I changed it to a more gamma magenta.
Right,
Sort
but
of.
if you don't have to have it on there.
We don't, but I would prefer to, because those are two big parts of the storm, and I just think it looks good.
But I don't think any regular person is gonna be like, oh my gosh, they don't have magenta on their radar on their shit.
Yeah, it's probably a cost thing, but we'll
Yeah.
see if that is.
If it's a cost thing, I can cut it out. If not, I'd kill me to get it out.
I still wonder if the rings are still, not the color, I don't care, but the rings themselves are still a bit much.
What do you mean a bit much?
If I was making this, I would change transparency to 95%. To where they're there,
I know we talked about that last week too, was making them so they're
to where they're there, but they're not as.
Oh, damn it.
they're not solid.
Yeah, so that was something that I tried with this, but the problem is that I don't know how to explain it, but you're right when you say that we can't have too many colors, and if I make it transparent, then what really happens is that your eye all right, I'm not gonna get too in depth, but when you try to do graphic design, you try to make it so that your eye follows the shape, right? And I want to keep circles, but if I decrease the transparency, I'm afraid of it getting lost in this. I'll still try it. I won't knock it until I try it, but I am not a fan of the idea.
Well, let's just see how it turns out.
Yeah, sure.
It's.
Okay, and the second thing, I threw this together last night because it honestly took way less time. I have my own thoughts about it, but I'm going to wait to hear you guys. You wanted a more like basic design, just black and white, simple, more identifiable, that kind of thing. So here is what I did. Oh, shit. So I took like sort of like an isobar design and I kept the circle motive. And then I, just drew some lines, literally mouse drew and then smoothed them out manually. And then I just got some text right here. I think, and this is my personal opinion, what I'm gonna do is, I do not like it being in the center. I think what I wanna do is I wanna have it wrap around the top and bottom, because it just feels too disconnected,
That looks fun. Yeah, it looks cool. I think, you can do both ways too, to just see like the contrast, because
Oh, shit.
I think if the.
I messed this up, the block that I'm using to hide it is a different shade, I'll fix that.
I think though that if, like, you just move this line just a little bit over, like that'll, and it'll look flush.
Because that's kind of pissing me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you change the color of WIUSWC, put it like, try to get the tomatoes,
I won't say no, I'll try, see what happens. I did have another idea, I couldn't really find a font that like works.
Laura,
Huh?
Laura, yeah, that's the official WIU.
All right, should I use that? Because I can also make it
What's
less.
Laura, what's his name?
Laura is the with sans font and then open sans.
Okay. All right, that's like a 5-second change. Yeah.
How big would that be?
Huh?
How big would that
Would it
be?
just be like a small thing or like?
It's up to you guys,
I'm
honestly.
hoping just the corner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like this sort of design would be like the front and the hatch and then the design that you showed us previously.
Okay.
would be on the back.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
So if we do that, then I might decrease the amount of lines and make it larger, because Illustrator is a vector program, so I can't design it coming like into size at lines. That made no sense.
And if you shrink it down, it's gonna look just like a bunch of lines.
Yeah, it's gonna look like a line. It's not gonna, trigger to at least the semi-intelligent eye. Oh, those are graphs, side cell or whatever you call it. So I think what I'll do is, if we're looking for like a patch, the size of my text, which are awesome, then I'm gonna decrease the amount of lines, but also make them larger. And maybe, I had the idea at first that this is going to be the same size as the arts. What if it's a badge? Then I will totally like wrap the text on the top and bottom outer.
But I think changing the font will help too.
We already got that.
Yeah, with like distinguishing it from the lines.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was thinking like, I don't know, I like it, the whole deal of it being incorporated into the line, so it's one whole streamlined thing.
Yeah.
I think that probably would get really complicated, especially since it's getting small, but.
That was an argument I had with myself. I almost rendered a different version, but look, I had that thought like an hour ago, and I didn't have the time to figure out how to add text, because I'm looking up for, so we're saving that for later, okay? I did think of it, but I'm having a brain fart right now. Yeah, so I did think of that idea, but the problem is that if I do that and I have the text on the outside, then this whole junk inside is utterly goddamn useless. Because it's, it's just like a bunch of lines. And like at that point, just make like an actual logo, because the purpose of it is not to be like anything identifiable. It's supposed to be like a good like back plate for the text to sort of decorate it. So if I put it on the outside, then I'll probably have to change the design of the interior. But if I keep it on the inside, then I think I'll be able to just keep the lines. Okay, so just to make sure that I got down what we want to do. Number one, do we like this version better or do we like this version better?
Honestly, I'm just a sucker for green. I like the other one.
Okay.
Billy don't has too much fruit.
You can never have too much.
I'm neutral.
Okay, well, I hate neutral people. Pick a side.
I mean,
This is democracy here, okay?
Can you pull them up into different tabs? Yeah, you just leave that another hole, another.
Here, 1 second, actually.
Just duplicate that tab, just right click it. And then you should be able to just look at it.
Yep. Oh, wait, is that the same? Because,
Yeah, so you're gonna click on that one, then
dude, you underestimate my ability to break things.
The other one's actually right. There you go.
I know how computers work. And of course, I can do different colors. If you want this hot pink, I'll do it.
Hot pink.
No!
So my question is, what about the radar?
Oh, you mean like the little thing that like gives
It's
you
gonna have a radar.
a little bit? Well, I think I could do that.
I think they're good with the color, or do they count white?
One of the tricks that we could use is whatever color the shirt is, you wouldn't have to include that as one of the colors.
I've been doing this under the assumption that it's a black shirt, because black shirts are, they're the easiest to design.
White shirt show sweat up here. White
Yeah,
shirt-
and white shirts also make me feel like a divorced mid-husband, so.
Not so specific. Cool.
Okay, seriously, give me like a vote. So we got one for blue, one for green.
Blue.
I think I prefer blue as well.
Whoa.
Hey, oh my gosh. Our favorite color green.
All right, we got 3 on 3. I need you two blokes to break the tie.
Go green.
Shut up and let them decide.
I mean, I don't care. It's not even my shirt.
Oh my fucking god, just pick a color.
Your guys in shirts. I don't know.
What do you think,
Oh
Brandon?
my gosh, yeah, I got some of the old ones, the excess ones.
Right, because he's indecisive and it's like blue. So I'll scrap this and I will keep the blue. Personally, I agree. I think the blue looks very nice. Alrighty, and radar beam, do you guys want, like, okay, when you say radar beam, we're talking like the stereotypical, like submarine detecting a nuke.
There's just like a
thing.
white line. that we keep going.
Alright, just a white line.
If you wanted to say about colors, you could also just use the same color for rain. So I'm sure that would-
Yeah, I was considering doing that.
Yeah.
I might add another little gradient behind it, like just so it doesn't look like.
So let's try to sweep the motion for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that works.
because otherwise it's just gonna look like it's there and not have in place. Whole theory.
Did you ever find a color limit?
No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna literally like try and make a shirt design with those designs and see how much it costs, and see how much it will decrease.
Alright.
What are we going up to?
That's a good question.
$50.
$50.
$50.
Usually, I would.
Typically, we did it for 15 and we sold it for 20. It's our cost.
Yes, the problem is, this shirt is looking to be a little bit more complex than the shirts that we traditionally make, and so it might be a bit more expensive. But
Wait, what?
Are you talking about the shirt that you wore last club? The one with the white radar?
Yes.
Okay, is the person who designed that in this room?
no, that was Dr. Baker, I think.
That was a combination of Weaker Mulligan.
Yeah, so none of them are great.
Okay, then I can say this with free will, that design sucks.
I like it, I like it.
From a graphic design standpoint, your eye gets lost so easily, that I thought it would be no worth it.
But I could say the same thing about this with blue ring.
It does the job. Okay, so I have a question.
Green
So,
bug is so bad.
grayscale, have you tried it grayscale?
Grayscale.
At all, yeah.
I could totally make a grayscale version. It's pretty simple. The way that Illustrator works, I just have to like select everything and then choose a color for it. It would be super easy to at least test. What are you snickering about, huh?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think that would be cool to see as well.
Alright.
Because that's what that shirt had as well, so.
Do you want me to shift more towards like the darker side or a lighter side?
Black shirt, so.
Since it's a black shirt.
Lighter.
Lighter, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we end up liking a grayscale version, that'd be very nice for us.
Yeah. And also the design that you made for the letters is also, it's black and white, so
Yeah.
good match.
I mean, that I did solely because it feels like it should be monochrome if it's a small identifiable thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I just felt like that would.
yeah.
Okay, so transparent rings, at least some transparency. I'll test it, no promises if it doesn't look good. Radar line thing, whatever, test a grayscale mode and clean up this piece of shit. Anything else?
It'd be really nice if we get this down, because the conference is like the end of March, beginning of April, so that'd be cool. I don't know how long sure it's take, but that'd be cool. We are all matching.
Around 4 or so weeks, probably would not get there in time.
Dang.
Yeah,
Could you wear them if it was business casual?
probably not.
Whoever knows to help.
Oh, wait, we walk around town, come on. I know.
Where's the one around?
Yes.
Okay, storm.
All ready for the bar. That makes you feel better.
You might get to-
20 minutes, so let's go. I can go in, I can't wait.
All right, well,
Well,
Very good.
I cannot, so usually I work on stuff on the weekends. I am visiting homes this weekend, so I might be a bit slower on the return.
Do what you can.
That's okay.
All right, that's it.
Okay.
Do whatever you want.
Then I want to bring up the thing about the digital record, because I have to respond to, Ian about the reservation thing, because I don't know how many of you guys have been at the digital record, but like, they have the sections, computers and stuff, and it sounds like the majority of us would be on the computers, and the little rooms that they have, like the cubicles, they have like 4 of them, so I was like, okay, let's just reserve a space, but I was just needing like a date and time that people are kind of free. It sounds like some people's exams got moved to next week.
I have 3 next week.
Yeah.
I have 3 next week, and I also have volleyball practice on Tuesday and Thursday.
So then let's say it does work, not necessarily next week,
Monday or Fridays. After that.
generally speaking.
Monday, Friday.
Mondays and Fridays for everybody, what times?
Well, we could also make a severe weather control meeting that's going to direct anyways too.
If we wanted to have a break meeting, we could do that as well.
So then what would we just, still be an hour or extend it, 'cause an hour is not a lot of time.
I don't know. It depends on what we want to do.
So then is everybody okay with that?
I won't say no.
What, that would be next, is it spotting next week or out like later?
Oh, it's 2 weeks.
Right.
It's like March 9th.
March, oh, okay. So then if it's gonna be like replace club, are we?
So it would have to be after this, the spotting area, because next week is gonna work for a lot of people. It's like exams and stuff, so.
So after March 9th.
March
On like a Monday or Friday.
March 9th.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or Wednesday.
So
We
Wednesday.
could also, what we could do, Jackson, we could set, we could like give a list of club dates or just dates in general on Discord, and people just vote which ones they're available for,
Mhm.
and schedule for whenever those people go.
Okay.
So that works for me.
Let's do that. Yeah, 'cause I just have to get back to you about that.
So what did we decide for our Fridays?
Yeah, Ian, I sent you messages.
You sent me messages,
I
when?
sent you so many messages on Discord.
My Discord is,
Yeah, man, you left me undelivered for like 2 days this weekend.
what'd you say?
You left me undelivered for like 2 days.
I know my Discord doesn't send notifications. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you guys read songs.
I put myself on do not disturb because I'm like at work a lot of the time and I have Discord open on my work computer, but then like a million people will start messaging. I'm like, I gotta work, man.
That's what I did in class, I didn't do that.
I guess so. So yeah, no, we wanted to try to reach out to local businesses. What'd you say?
So what I was asking was, I reached out to the Girl Scouts and told them about the like whole thing, so like we'll see what they say, but.
Okay.
I was saying if you wanted to go ahead with that like high school thing that we were talking about,
High
like
school.
the first or second club, in lieu of the elementary stuff, because if we're doing
Oh.
it distance, I don't think that'd be good. And then the small business day.
Yeah, so the big thing that we need to do for small business, are you guys okay with reaching out to small businesses in exchanging space on our Facebook page, for example, for a donation to the club?
You talking about your
We can talk about things like that. I don't think she would have a problem with it. As long as we're transparent, like, yeah, they're just sponsoring us because they want to support us.
I don't care, I won't do it, but I'll give you guys the access to Facebook.
Yeah, I can do that, it's totally fine. The only thing that we need to do is just come up with businesses we want to reach out to.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think the first couple ones that I wrote down, probably just the bullet points. Like this, like the more non-threatening ones, but then there was like a bigger one that you mentioned that like. It's more, you were like talking about what's more related to
Right.
them.
So,
But yeah.
yeah, the big thing we need to do is just get a list of businesses that we would want to reach out to, so okay, so I'll work with you on that and get that going. Yeah. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to talk about? We went longer than I expected to. We
Yeah,
talked
like
about
it's
a
the
lot.
longest meeting we've ever had.
It's very fitting, not necessarily, considering you just heard the first thunder crack of the year out there, and now I'm full blood right now.
Yeah, so,
Oh, wait, do you have an update on the Boy Scout thing?
oh, yeah, no, I'll talk to you and Anthony and Dr. Finch about that. I emailed her back and she was like, yes, thank you.
Because I talked to him and he told me to talk to him.
You know, she's in
I
contact.
said, yes, you can go, and I'm just confirming it.
No, they're,
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here for that, like Friday, Saturday.
yeah, no, basically what's gonna happen is on that day, March 12th, we would go up to Monmouth and then they provide us food and stuff. We would just have to be presenting. Dr. Finch has some materials for us for doing that. You said, what? Golden Dolphin in Monmouth, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I'll get my dad.
You guys think I'm kidding, I'm not.
I don't own golf clubs.
I wanna drive a golfer.
That's fine.
I'll talk to you and Anthony about that as soon as she emails me back. She says that she's gonna give me some information about that too.
Okay.
So,
Kathy? Yes.
When you go, is it like, you just drink beer?
Oh, that's so boring.
We just hate golf. I hate golf.
I have a great.
It's so slow, it takes forever, it's so long and so boring. I tell my dad it's boring, and he's like, no, it's not, he falls asleep watching golf on the couch. Like, no, it's not boring. It gets my blood boiling, I'm sorry.
I hate golf only because people that, besides my grandfather, anybody who's ever played golf, I found myself despising. See every list of rich people ever.
Not true.
all right, guys, in lieu of talking about golfing, if there's nothing else that anyone wants to talk about for this meeting, then I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. Thank you all for coming and we can discuss more.
Motion to rename the club to Gamers Against Golf.
Denied. Yeah, if there's nothing else, then I will let you guys go.
As treasurer,
Thank you for attending, Anna.
On to my crusade against golf.